Words with Wings, pages 66 to 83. Practice, practice. I try to do what Mr. Spicer said, switch off my daydreams during class, save them for recess, but my thoughts have a mind of their own. Besides, the weather's getting warmer and the trees are whispering, and who can concentrate when the music of the ice cream truck is right outside the window? Firefly. Say firefly, and I close my eyes, watch one wink on and off, an SOS to gather its brothers. Together they rise and pulse till I sweep them into a jelly jar. I tap the lid and grin at my summer nightlight. Sand. Say sand, and I am running along the beach, snatching up shells for my memory box, Dad right beside me. He oohs and ahs when I find a beauty and keeps his own eyes open for sand dollars. At the end of the afternoon, we trade treasures. I smile and blink myself back to the classroom. For once, I write down my daydream. I'll take that, says Mr. Spicer, snatching the memory right out of my hand. Uh-oh. David and I trade looks. I wait for my punishment. Mr. Spicer carries my paper to his desk, orders the class to open their workbooks while he reads in silence. A million moments later, he looks up at me with a smile. I quit holding my breath, but can't help wondering why he's not mad. The lunch bell rings before I can figure it out. David and I worry together over peanut butter and jelly. We share a cream-filled cookie, and I wash my half down with a trickle of fear and a cold carton of milk. Later, Mr. Spicer still hasn't mentioned a thing about my paper. Even so, I make sure to start the afternoon eyes fixed on the blackboard. I'm doing just fine till the numbers begin to spin, and the chalk draws hopscotch lines on the sidewalk, inviting me to hop from box to box, balancing on one leg like a ballerina, in sneakers, and Mr. Spicer doesn't even say a thing to stop me. Canyon. Say canyon, and I am at horizon's rim, leaning over a deep bowl of echoes. I gape at the grand cavern and call, Gabriella, then wait for the soft, round sound of Ella, 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 as it returns. Idea. Gabriella, says Mr. Spicer, didn't you hear the bell? I come back from my travels. Sorry, I whisper, gathering my books to go. It's okay, he says, but before you go, I have something to show you. Remember this? He hands me the paper he'd taken from me earlier. Here it comes, I'm thinking. My punishment. I slide down in my seat, search for some way to disappear. This was your daydream, wasn't it? He asks. I nod, my tongue too tied to answer. It's wonderfully vivid, he says. In fact, it's given me an idea. I'll tell you all about it tomorrow. That's it for today. Go on home. I leave on giggly knees. Now what? Announcement. The next morning I race to school, my mind too full of questions to wander anywhere else. I bounce up and down in my seat, while Mr. Spicer takes 10 times forever to call the roll. Then finally, class, says Mr. Spicer, starting tomorrow we will stop what we're doing once a day and daydream for 15 minutes. Then write those daydreams down. David looks at me, his eyes wide as the moon. You'll never know when, though, continues Mr. Spicer, so you'll have to keep your eyes front and pay attention. Does that sound good? I swallow these words like honey, smile at their sweetness, and say yes, my favorite word of all. Good night. When class lets out, I hurry home, hungry for dinner and hoping to find more words with wings to dream and write about tomorrow. Home. I kick my shoes off at the door, drop my books on the kitchen table, then hunt for snacks. Shoes in your room, please, says Mom. I groan, but do exactly what she tells me. When I get back, she's reading my paper. The stupid page must have slipped from my notebook. I growl, then turn to leave until Mom says, This is lovely, Gabriella. I wish I could write like you. What? I slice out Mom's words and nibble on them, one at a time. When I find my voice again, I tell her all about Mr. Spicer's plan for our class. Good, she says, smoothing my paper like it's something precious. If this is a daydream, I don't want to know. It's here. Tomorrow arrives like a miracle. Even so, the class creeps by, slow as the night before Christmas. I can't wait to open my notebook and jot down whatever daydream comes to me. I peek at David, who shrugs in answer to the question in my eyes. When? Finally, Mr. Spicer says, "Okay, class, workbook shut. It's daydream time." I'm telling you, I just about cry. All in. 4 weeks have passed, and my notebook is thick with daydreams. Funny how much better I'm doing in school. Somehow lessons don't seem half as boring. I'm not perfect, but I hear most of what Mr. Spicer teaches these days. Plus, homework's easier now that my mind's not always meandering. There's one more thing that's new. My mom is starting to daydream too. Author. Say Gabriella, and Mom sees me silver-tipped pen in hand, swirling best wishes across the front pages of dozens of books with my name printed on them. I sign hundreds round the clock for a line of happy fans that stretch a city block. And there is Mom, beaming right beside me. Fair is fair. I never told Mom I wanted to be a writer, but I'll let her keep her daydreams since she's finally letting me keep mine.